Hey folks, it's a man once again. Second time I'm doing this, just the fucking phone rang and it was no one important. It was, hey, do you want to buy this? Yeah, how about my time back? I'm doing the fucking review and then for like, it was only like, I was only like 5 minutes in, 3 minutes in, but still, leave me alone. But of course, as you can tell from the title, I'm reviewing Weekend at Bernie's. Because like I said, many times before now, this is the month of my birthday in May, and wanted to review some childhood films that I grew up with and still enjoy, some comedies. And Weekend at Bernie's is one of them. Which, of course, this is a 1989 film, and it was followed by a sequel, which wasn't as good, Weekend at Bernie's 2. But Weekend at Bernie's obviously was a decent enough hit to get a sequel. I think that was 93, so kind of where they did a sequel 4 years later. But it was one of those films that there's pretty much a one-trick pony. That that sequel, I'll probably talk a little bit about maybe at the end of the review, but it's definitely not as good as this one. Weekend at Bernie's, directed by Ted Kotcheff. This is the same guy that did the first Rambo film, First Blood. Ted Kotcheff directed First Blood. He also directed a very, very good film that I reviewed a while ago called Uncommon Valor with Gene Hackman, Fred Ward, Red Brown, Tim Thomerson, Randall Tex Cobb, Patrick Swayze. Uncommon Valor, excellent film. Same guy directed that, and First Blood directed this. It's so weird. And of course, as you see, stars Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan Silverman. You also have Catherine Mary Stewart, Terry Kaiser as Bernie. Pretty much those two guys, Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan Silverman, they're working at this job. Sort of guys on the low totem pole. Find out there's some embezzlement going on. Bring it up with their boss, Bernie. Bernie invites them to his place, by the beach, women, great, uh, huge place at the beach, and you find out that Bernie is the one been embezzling. Wants these two guys killed, but because Bernie is stooping the one guy's woman, the one guy goes, you know what? Forget the two guys, kill Bernie. So before our two leads get there, Bernie is killed, like injected with something, and then these two guys come in and they find their boss dead. And of course, Jonathan Silverman, he's ready to call the police, but then guests arrive because there's a lot of parties at this place, and no one notices that Bernie's dead. So Andrew McCarthy is like, well, wait a minute, how about we just pretend that Bernie didn't die? Because no one's noticing it. So it's like pretending that he's still alive so they can stay there, and then they find out that they were supposed to be killed, but they don't know that it was the whole thing. So they think, oh, if they think Bernie's alive and with us, they won't try to kill us. Because again, they don't know the whole deal. And again, not again, because I said in the last time I tried to review this, this film's not realistic. It would never happen. We all know by now that a dead body, when it's dead, you would be able to tell just from the smell alone. For what I understand, when you die, you shit your pants, you piss your pants, because it all just flows out, and you would be smelling and ranking, and everyone would notice that someone's dead. But this is one of those comedies in the 80s that I don't think of in reality terms. It's like Mannequin with Andrew McCarthy. It's like Short Circuit. That's not a realistic movie. Police Academy films. I don't really consider them realistic movies. But they're one of the movies that are not realistic, but I think they're fun. So, is it realistic? Would this ever happen? Hell no. But in a way, it's pretty. Think of it as a dark comedy because what they're doing with this dead body. Uh, like Andrew McCarthy tying him up and play Monopoly with him so that when people pass by, he pulls the strings like, hello, ladies, hello. Or get them to the boat. They tie the shoelaces, their shoelaces, to Bernie's shoelaces. And the other does the same thing, so they're walking with him. I think what makes the film work, and there is a cult status with this film. People know about this film. You've heard about this film. And before I get into that, I'm surprised this film has no special features as of yet. I mean, it came out on DVD 3 times. From Artisan in 98, and twice from MGM in 2005, 2007. Then there's a Blu-ray release in May of 2014. Why no special features on this? Hell, last year there was a reunion with Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan Silverman, Terry Kaiser, and Catherine Mary Stewart. And I know Wes from Dead Pit is like, come on, are these guys really running out of ideas for reunions? But I'm sorry, Wes. I like this film more than Madman and other films that get reunions. I'd rather see a reunion of this than The Walking Dead. So I'd rather see more of this than The Walking Dead. That's just my opinion. So we agree to disagree on that. But Weekend at Bernie's is a fun movie. It's an entertaining film. A lot of people grew up with it. A lot of people saw it on videotape. Like, I saw this a lot on videotape back in the day. I know a lot of people did too. It's still an entertaining film. Still a fun film. Not a realistic film, but still a fun film. Why no special edition? If these guys could get together for a reunion, then they would sit their asses down to talk about the film and interview about the film. Because I want to hear about this film. I want to hear how the writer, Robert Klein, who went on to direct the sequel, how he came up with this idea. What made these two guys decide to star in this film? How did Terry Kaiser feel about playing a dead guy? You know, and what do they think about how the film has sort of lived on? You know, people remember this title. I would like to see a special edition of this. This is a no-brainer. People know Weekend at Bernie's. They've heard of the fucking film. If Summer School can get it, which I like Summer School, but I would say it between the two, and I'll review Summer School along with some others after this. But I would say I like this film more. Why doesn't this have special features? Why doesn't this have a special edition? Was it MGM released this? They're doing special edition of stuff. So why not this? I don't understand, but love the way the film opens, like the soundtrack. Some like it hot, whoa. Some like it cold, whoa. Some like it hot, some like it hot, oh yeah. Some like it cold. I know there's more lyrics, but that's the only ones I can remember. And these two get into their job, and some guy tries to mug them, and Andrew McCarthy's like, "Get your ass out of here! It's too hot." And the guy sort of says, "Okay." And pretty much their job, sort of a dead end job, and Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy is sort of the more free spirit one, while Jonathan Silverman, he's more the uptight guy. And this is probably the film I remember these two the most from. I mean, I know they did other films, but I remember these two mostly from Weekend at Bernie's. I know Terry Kaiser, he got killed by Jason, a dead guy, in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. And then he became a dead guy, Bernie. That's probably, without a doubt, that's Terry Kaiser's most famous role as Bernie. But like Andrew McCarthy's like, yeah, we should go to a beach, and so they kind of do, but instead it's on a rooftop filled with tar, and there's like a kiddie pool. And this is one of those films that I wouldn't say it's funny because it's tons of worthwhile quotes. It's just, I thought these two had really good chemistry with each other. They played off each other very well, and also just the situation. I don't know if you want to call it a situation comedy, but just the situations they get themselves into. I think it's fun. It's entertaining. But like I say, they find out about this problem. They go to Bernie. They're invited. Um, Bernie wants him killed, but he gets killed. They find out there's a party. They're carrying him out. Again, just these people just not noticing that Bernie's dead. Like, both of them are carrying Bernie, and this guy comes up and says, okay, Bernie, look me in the eyes. And then, of course, the body flops like this, but the guy takes it as a nod. Yes, yes, thank you, Bernie. And even this girl who's drunk off her ass, who was with the guy that ordered him killed, she's like, Bernie, where's that son of a bitch? And these two are like, well, he's up there, and they're ready for her to scream and cry out and yell. But then the girl like disappears up there, and these two are like, what's going on? What's going on up there? I have no idea. And the girl comes down, and you get the idea she got laid from this dead body. Which I guess, dark, if you think about it. Necrophilia, for fuck's sake. I like Andrew McCarthy's line, God gets laid more dead than I do alive. I get yelled at when I just lay there. And then that's the scene later on where Andrew McCarthy's playing Monopoly. And this whole time, you have this little romance between Jonathan Silverman and Catherine Mary Stewart. Catherine Mary Stewart, of course, she was in The Last Starfighter. She was in Night of the Comet. They interviewed her for Night of the Comet and Last Starfighter, so if she was willing to do that reunion, I think it was in Rhode Island. Like, there was some Comic-Con, and one of them was a reunion for this film back in 2013. Which I'm like, why the fuck didn't someone go down there and interview these guys for a Blu-ray? Or whatever the fuck release. DVD, Blu-ray. Why the fuck not? People know. Obviously enough to have a reunion for it. Which I buy more than reunions for them to see some of these other fucking films. Or reunions you've seen 50 times. But yeah, you have this little romance going between Jonathan Silverman and Catherine Mary Stewart. You have this little kid that gives them shit. Tries to bury Bernie. Then they find out that they were supposed to be killed, and they get scared, but it's this little kid with a fucking gun. And Andrew McCarthy's like, you little bastard, and tries to chase after him. The scene where they're cleaning Bernie up, and they have to, because the kid buried him, they're vacuuming him up, vacuuming his face, and they still take off his fucking hairpiece. Putting Bernie in this like little red wagon, and of course Bernie's head falls back and bumps along the fucking ground. They try to get to the boat with the shoelaces, but they miss the boat. Then it's like, okay, well, we'll use Bernie's boat. And they... Yeah, the scene where, of course, they tie Bernie up in the back. But then Bernie gets loose and falls back. He's being dragged the whole time. And they're like, what's that? Oh, those are channel markers. Okay, wise ass, which side should I be on? Oh, just stay close. As they're driving past, they hear boing, boing, boing. They say, what's that? I don't know. They look back as, Bernie! They get him back out, and of course, what happens? The boat fucking runs out of gas. And even before that, you have stuff where, Andrew McCarthy is trying to learn how to drive the boat, and it's going all over the docking area, and makes Jonathan Silverman fall off the boat, and it's hitting this, hitting that. They get bad, and then Catherine Mary Stewart, they show her what's going on. The real killer comes back. Because the killer, thinks he's killed Bernie, then he keeps seeing Bernie walking around, thanks to these guys. He's like, what the hell? How many times do I have to kill him? So he keeps getting more and more freaked out. Ultimately, they stop him. Andrew McCarthy's able to tie him up and punch him out. Cops are able to arrest the guy, ready to take Bernie away to the morgue. These two, along with Catherine Mary Stewart, made it out okay. But then once again, Bernie, he's on this journey. It rolls out, falls off right next to them, and someone comes up and goes, "Hey, Bernie, hi." And they're like, "What'd she say?" And then they look, and there's Bernie there, and they run off. Uh, I like the score of the film. Really like the soundtrack, the music. Some like it hot. Nice location. The beach type of location works fine. Again, what makes the film work is these two guys. Is these guys. I mean, Terry Kaiser plays a good dead guy. I mean, it's harder than it sounds. I mean, it's harder than you think to do that. I think Terry Kaiser did a good job, and I think Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan Silverman, they work very well together. They have some really good chemistry with each other, and they play off each other well. Catherine Mary Stewart did good for what she had to do. She didn't have much to do, but what was there, she did fine with. And this is stuff they have to do with this body. Again, dark comedy, sure, but it works. I like this more than Very Bad Things and some other dark comedies. I like this film. I call it dark, but at the same time, I don't think people watch this now would think of dark. It's just when you think about it, it's like, well, dead body and necrophilia, but he may be dead, but he's the life of the party. I enjoy this film. I have fun with this movie. I think it's entertaining. Again, realistic, not in the slightest, but entertaining, yes. But I do think this was a one-trick pony, which I'll get to this. Can I watch this film for these two guys? Yes, but that's pretty much it. I don't think it's as fun. I don't think it's definitely as funny. I think it was an idea that worked once. It was a film that didn't need a sequel. You didn't need a sequel to Weekend at Bernie's. Was it the Caribbean they go to? Which maybe that's why these actors took the jobs. Like, hey, I get paid a decent amount and I get to go to Caribbean. Okay, I'll do that job. And you have the subplot where it's like actually Steve James, American Ninja 1 and 2, and who's no longer with us, him and another guy are hired because the money that Bernie stole, which I thought was the money in the suitcase that they found in the first film, but I guess not. I thought it was. Uh, they Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman are accused of working with Bernie. When they didn't, they get fired, and they're like, well, wait a minute, this money that Bernie stole, the only way to get it is to go into his personal effects and his account, and Bernie has to be there. So they get the idea to get Bernie, but at the same time, someone else has the idea, who I guess Bernie owed other people money, and those people happen to hire a voodoo woman. And then it gets these two guys to, okay, you go find this body, and you go do this ritual, and they screw it up, so Bernie walks when music's playing. Only when music's playing. That right there, you already know what kind of movie you're getting into. I mean, hell, I think this is PG, while the first film was PG-13. I mean, I don't know. Is when the focus is taken away from Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, it definitely doesn't work. Like, I don't mind Steve James and the other guy as actors, but don't care for them as characters. And the whole voodoo thing is just. I know the first film's not realistic, just stupid, unnecessary. Um, you're taking a joke, you know, even too far. Like it's a film that didn't need a sequel. Catherine Mary Stewart's character disappears, never mentioned, which I think is um, a shame. Andrew McCarthy has a little bit of a romance thing, but that doesn't work out at all because it doesn't work with his character. And you detectives, they don't really do much with it anyway. Barry Bostwick is in this as a guy who thinks that these two did it, so he's uh, watching them. His character is useless. He could have taken him completely out of the film because his scenes really weren't that funny or interesting. Oh, you did. It was just an unneeded sequel, and you could tell just an unneeded sequel, and the situations weren't even as entertaining as the first film. I mean, Bernie gets into a conga line because he can dance, and Bernie gets tangled into this parasailing and goes in the water, and a shark grabs it and pulls the shark up, and the shark lets go, and you're like, or, there's this carriage, and the horse runs away, so they put Bernie in front and play music and have him pull them, but then it gets to a hill, and they go down the hill, and it's, I don't know, just, when you think of straight-to-DVD movies, straight-to-DVD sequels, this is what this, I think this actually got in the theaters, but this is what it smells like as a straight-to-DVD sequel, even though it went into theaters. And it's written and directed by Robert Twain, the same guy who wrote the first film, and again, it just doesn't work as well the second time. It's just not that funny, it's not that entertaining. I can watch it as a time waster, just because of Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman. I don't mind those two in the film. And I actually don't mind the soundtrack. I actually don't mind the soundtrack in this film. I think the soundtrack is actually pretty good. But it just, the one-trick pony. It worked once, doesn't mean it's going to work twice. So maybe it's the script, Robert Klein, and I don't know, just the whole voodoo thing, stupid. But I like the soundtrack, and I still don't mind these two guys. So I didn't watch this as a time waster. Like if I watch this one, I'll just pop this in just to watch it as a time waster. But this is definitely the better one, and that one's just not as good. But anyway, that's Weekend at Bernie's from 1989. Again, I don't understand why there's no special edition of this movie. I mean, how much does this film make? This film made, 6.3 on IMDb. I don't think it cost too much, and it made like 30 million. So yeah, the film has a cult following. People have heard of the film. It deserves some type of features. I know it made a shitload on video. Just a lot of people, including me, saw it on videotape. So I'm sure that's why it got a sequel, not because of. I wouldn't be surprised if this film made a shitload on video, because that's like one of those films that you saw a lot on cable back in the day. But anyway, that's my review on Weekend at Bernie's, film I enjoy. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay tuned for more videos. Later.